It was the early 2000s, I was 3 years old, and I was watching a cartoon about a Hindu epic. A human and a monkey teamed up, the frame kept skipping. It was an animation of its time. With little budget, the color looked like a kid had done it from inside the coloring book. I did not understand anything about the story. This was the first time I encountered the story of Ramayana. It was later here at Greenstone, in our Indonesian curriculum classes called Tiga Mapel, that I get to learn more in detail about Ramayana. There's a story of Dharma against Adharma, the good versus the evil. For me, the story is about restoring the balance of the universe. An evil giant king with 10 heads and 20 hands, called Ravana, reside in the land of Lanka, the land of giants, prophesied to one day destroy the world. A god by the name of Vishnu, with blue skin and who, for some reason, loves yogurt? I don't know. No one ever told me why. Anyways, back to Ramayana. Reincarnated into a prince of the kingdom of Ayodhya. Rama. Rama is an archer who mastered the bow. Vishnu descended into a human vessel of Rama to fight the evil Ravana, through a number of challenges whilst trying to rescue his kidnapped wife Sita. Only once this is done can the balance of the universe be restored. Storytelling and these epics are a version of our spiritual and moral code. These events the priest would write about, and we learn what we should and shouldn't do. Allows us to reflect on our greed, our pleasure, our behaviors. It is basically about us. So now, back in Bali in 2024, what is the good, what is the evil, and who is the kidnapped wife? Bali, the land of gods, the land of 1,000 temples. For the 4.4 million Balinese, it is home, and many of you have moved here to make it your home. Bali is the only Hindu majority province in Indonesia, making up 86.9% of the Hindu population in this country. With a rich culture of ceremonies, music, dances, puppet shows, wood carving, and metalworks. Being Balinese means you were born into a set of tradition and cultural norms. Same as everyone around the world, right? I only realized I was Balinese though when I realized that not everyone was Balinese. At 4 years old, there was an office right next to my house where the original Green School marketing team worked. I got to spend time with them, got to know them. One of them even gave me a stuffed toy when they left Bali. This was my exposure to the foreigners. Bali is not just for the Balinese, it is where people come with a purpose. According to the Central Statistic Agency of Indonesia, in the year 2000, the biggest employment of that time was agriculture, making up 32% of the employed population. Now going back to the recent year of 2023, the biggest employment of this time is now wholesales, hospitalities, and retails, which are like hotels and shops, making up 35% of the employed population, compared to agriculture, which is only now 19%. This shows a trend of how we're slowly moving away from traditional farming to tourism, and shows how much we rely on tourism for our economy. So now, let's go back to Ramayana. Right now in Bali, what is the good, what is changing? And where is Sita, the kidnapped wife? Just like in Ramayana, as Rama struggled for his own identity, being a young Balinese in an international school, I often feel there are two versions of me. There are challenges to overcome. The biggest challenge has been, in one way, learning about traditions, custom, and practical needs, conflicting with a more individualistic approach to life. Within these two worlds, I had always had to consider, who am I? What are my passions? What do I want to do? The Western I competing against the Balinese we. from a small kid running around a temple to a young man wanting to know more about technology. And as you can hear, speaking with an American accent. And then there's Sita, the kidnapped wife. Sita, being the Bali I thought I was going to grow up in, is slowly being kidnapped, being changed at such a rate. My future, Bali's future, is unpredictable. So I started to wonder, how are other young Balinese managing these changes? My goal was to get to know other people's experience of the current change and how they're adapting. A way to learn from others and possibly improve my connection to Bali and my connection to my identity. At the start, I wanted to interview and take photos of people around the community, mainly strangers. Although this was a very challenging experience for someone who's a bit scared of people. I was very hesitant to ask them for an interview in the first place. I had lots of ideas, but I needed a strategy. I would start by just talking, asking questions to make it seem a bit more casual, and then proceed to tell them about my idea, and then ask if they want to be interviewed. However, being used to capturing people's expressions, even when they say yes, their face was telling me no. I also encountered a setback at this time, where I lost all my footage, my progress. I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. And so I realized I have my friends. So I switched focus to them. Now, rather than me telling you or showcasing a lot of facts, like how I did before, for me, it's their perspective that is really important. And so I asked them 5 questions. First, what is your experience of being a local Balinese in an international school? Second, what are your impressions of growth and changes in Bali? Third, how does this affect your personal life? This can also include your family, your friends, local community, and your feelings or emotions around this. 4, how does this inspire your action? What is it and what impact are you making? 5, what do you want Bali to look like in 10 years? And how can we achieve this? I interviewed 4 people. It's important that I introduce them to you. First, Dipta, a childhood friend who I share the same interest in creating things and now making achievements by helping communities around Bali. Guse, another childhood friend since 2nd grade. Every time I show him my work, he always engages and lifts my confidence up. As you can hear yesterday, he's helping farmers around Bali. And then Bintang, an active and social guy. He's very creative and talented at painting and music. He's also helping in his village in North Bali. And lastly, Lalita. I've known since middle school. She's always doing something. I learned that she teaches foreigners how to play Balinese instruments, whilst also helping her family's business. I could see that they all were strongly rooted in Bali, in traditions and culture. And I wanted to see how they juggled the 2 worlds. Until this year and these conversations, I never really asked them about it. And so from these interviews and the responses to the questions I shared earlier, this is what I learned. First, there is a collective idea of change of perspective. Being in an international school, my interviewee said that they gain an international perspective on Bali and build awareness around it. For example, one participant said that we get to see both sides of Bali, where it is coming from and where it is going. Another talked about culture exchange, coming from the changes in Bali, with the capacity to know how to conserve our culture. Second idea that came through was that of our responsibility to take action. Each person that I spoke to is committed to some form of activism and change making in the community. The majority of the participants said that they're inspired by the Balinese philosophy, in particular, Trihita Karana, the balance between humans, nature, and God. With different motivation from this inspiration, from protecting their village to giving back, giving back what, giving back what we learned from our community, to sharing their cultures to foreigners. Finally, the third main idea was a future that lives in harmony. Harmony being based on respect, respect between traditions and the new, respect between locals and foreigners, respect of nature over developments, to stay true to our philosophy that makes us unique. It is about the preservation of the environment, the landscape to not be changing too much. We still want to see the rice paddies, the green, not so much of concrete. The rice paddies are mythical, our food source, and industry. We want to make making Bali part of our identity and be proud of it, maintaining a strong culture whilst also learning from the current developments to help us decide what we want Bali to look like. Whilst learning about people around me, I also wanted to capture the moment. So photography has been something I've enjoyed since 8th grade. First time I held a camera. It was later in 10th grade when Pope Francis lent me a camera to help me pursue this growing passion of mine. It was not, at the start, I would take close-up photos of nature, insects, flowers, plants. It was not until I joined Biosphere as one of our trips that I started to take pictures of people. As you can see here. I like that people compliment my work. They like how they looked, and it built my confidence in taking photos of people. Taking photos of people, it is really amazing. It is really amazing how you can capture these moments that might be lost. And the feeling of taking a good shot that makes those that you capture feel, and as a photographer, seeing someone enjoy their photo. I learned to like compliments. It is easier because it was more about the photos rather than me. So, with many things that are constantly shifting my attention from my culture, such as devices and pop cultures, the willingness to participate in my traditions, it was hard. I feel the sense of moving away from where everyone is at in my community and where I am at. The distance I felt always makes me compare myself to others and even question how they're able to manage these changes. I thought it was like a superpower, but they're able to balance that. And now I've forgotten how it was like when I used to run around the temple with my friends and fall face first to the concrete floor. So, if this was modern Ramayana, the Bali that I thought I was going to grow up in, my community, perhaps has been kidnapped. But then again, maybe it's my own idea of me that has been kidnapped. This change is teaching me new skills and connecting with new people, and potentially in the future, what could help my family. Ultimately, change should still allow me to be Balinese. And just like Sita was rescued, it takes a good fight for the future of Bali and for who we want to be. Thank you. I want to thank everyone that have supported me. My two mentors, Ibu Putri and Ibu Heidi, for helping me with my work and teaching me more about photography. And then to Ibu Kate, Ibu Harriet, and Puck George for the endless support and helping me with my speech and how to present. Without them, I wouldn't be here today. And lastly, I want to thank my family, my friends, and everyone else who've come here to support me today. Thank you.